Imagine your capital city's electrical grid experiences power outages every single day. The absolute last thing you do is ban all gas-powered cars.
Right. Yeah, you'd think so.
Well, 2 years ago, Ethiopia did exactly that. So today we are taking a deep dive into how this country unexpectedly became like the leader of Africa's electric vehicle revolution.
It is wild.
Whoa.
And we're also looking at how rural tech is stepping in to solve the massive hurdles that come with it.
Because, I mean, it sounds completely counterintuitive to ban gas vehicles when you barely have electricity.
It really does, but when you look at the economics, well, it was basically a survival mechanism.
Yeah, let's look at those numbers. It's honestly like cutting up a credit card to stop bleeding cash.
Exactly.
Because Ethiopia was squandering $4.2 billion a year just to import fuel, plus another $128 million a month in heavy subsidies.
And those imports were highly vulnerable to external shocks, right?
Yeah.
The source material actually points to an interesting geopolitical angle here.
Right, the fuel shortages.
Yeah, claiming these severe shortages were exacerbated by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which, and we're just impartially reporting the text here, the source links to a U.S. assault on Iran.
Right, we're not taking sides, just relaying what the documents say.
Exactly. But the point is, global volatility made importing fuel totally unbearable. People were literally waiting hours at the pump, just for the gas to run out.
So they just cut the cord. And it's actually working. I mean, Ethiopia imported over 44,000 Chinese EVs in 2025 alone.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a third of all Chinese EV imports into Africa. EVs make up 8% of all cars on their roads now.
Which is a massive boom, obviously. But it creates an immediate infrastructure bottleneck.
Wait, yeah, let's stop there for a second. A third of all Chinese EV imports to Africa are landing in a country that can't reliably keep its lights on.
Yeah, it sounds like a paradox.
It makes absolutely no sense. Where are they plugging these in? Because the sources mention this coffee export manager in Addis Ababa.
Right, the guy who couldn't take a road trip.
Exactly. He can't even drive 177 miles to a resort because the entire capital city has fewer than 100 chargers. How are people accepting this?
Well, it is a massive bottleneck.
Yeah.
You have tens of thousands of cars and nowhere near enough plugs. But the underlying energy foundation is actually stronger than it looks.
Really? How so?
Because 90% of Ethiopia's electricity already comes from renewable sources, mainly hydro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're currently building the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which is expected to double their power generation.
Though, according to the texts, that massive dam project comes with its own heavy geopolitical baggage.
Yeah, it definitely does.
It's reportedly at the center of a decade-long water dispute with downstream neighbors, Egypt and Sudan. And again, just to be clear for everyone listening, we're simply conveying the source material's claims here.
Absolutely. But yeah, the macro-level grid has huge potential. It's just highly centralized and, as you said, contentious.
Right.
So if you live outside the capital, you can't just wait for a massive dam to solve your daily commute.
No, you need something right now.
Exactly. That's why private innovation is tackling the rural charging gap from the bottom up.
And this is the part of the source material that really caught my eye, this company called Tether.
Yeah, Tether is fascinating.
They're taking rural solely kiosks and turning them into EV hubs. But I mean, if you plug a car into a tiny solar kiosk, wouldn't it just melt the system?
It absolutely would fry it. That's why Tether uses a hub-and-spoke model.
Oh, okay. How does that work?
Well, they set up one central solar-powered battery bank, and that safely feeds several smaller charging nodes.
Oh, I see.
But the real secret is that they use Second Life, recycled EV batteries to store the power locally.
So how exactly does that prevent the system from frying?
Think of it like a water tower. You have solar panels slowly trickling power into these large recycled batteries all day.
Okay, so the recycled batteries are the water tower.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when a driver pulls up, the power isn't coming directly from the delicate solar panels or a fragile grid.
It's coming from that massive reserve.
Right. They open the floodgates and dump that stored power instantly into the vehicle.
That makes perfect sense. It bypasses the main electrical grid entirely.
Totally. And the payment method is just as decentralized. They aren't relying on traditional bank accounts at all.
Yeah, the payment part is wild. Drivers pay using USDT, which is essentially a digital dollar, over the Lightning Network.
The crypto angle.
Yeah. That network processes microtransactions instantly, so drivers are literally paying per second of charge.
It removes all the financial friction. It's exactly like buying prepaid phone minutes.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
There are no fixed monthly costs. And they're being super smart about the rollout, too. Phase 1 is just quick battery swapping for two-wheel taxis.
Start small, right.
Exactly. Once that's stable, they scale up to commercial vans and minibuses.
It's just a completely different way of building infrastructure.
Yeah.
And Ethiopia isn't stopping at imports. They aim to have 60 local EV assembly plants by 2030.
Which is going to drastically lower the cost of the vehicles themselves.
For sure. Which leaves us with a really fascinating implication.
Yeah, if a developing nation can leapfrog fossil fuels entirely, by combining solar microgrids with crypto micropayments.
What does that mean for how the West updates its own aging infrastructure?
Exactly.
Maybe the blueprint for the future of transportation isn't coming from a place with a perfect grid. Maybe it's coming from a place that had to figure out how to thrive without one.
That's a really great point.
It's a provocative thought to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining us on this curious and engaging exploration today. We love digging into these unexpected stories with you, so keep wanting to learn something more, and we'll see you next time.